Hey everyone, welcome to the multi-large working group for November 9th, 2020. Taking some time to do an intro while everyone joins. I will be your DJ today, or MC in this case, and Jerry had to run out, has an emergency to handle. I hope I won't have to say anything apart from handing it over to Jason on what's being done.
Sure. So first off, we do officially have the capability to configure GitLab pages as a part of the charts at this time. Documentation on this will be coming soon. There remains a specific target to use it in a hybrid fashion until we have GitLab pages in a container and everything is confirmed and functional as a chart of its own. There remains a challenge of doing automation of the OAuth integration due to the nature of you have to have Rails functioning in order to actually do OAuth setup. That won't specifically affect GitLab.com, however, as we already have all of that in play with the various secrets. Or I don't believe it will. I could always be corrected.
What kind of automation, Jason, are you referring to?
When it comes to setting up the authorized access through pages, that actually is done through OAuth. And in the omnibus, we actually spin Rails up, generate secrets, and then create an OAuth request, and then stash those secrets into GitLab secrets.json. The creation of those secrets requires Rails to be functioning to be able to create the request to be able to stash the credentials. So we have to figure out how we're going to handle that. And it's something we actually face with Mattermost and Grafana as well.
Okay. Oh, you're talking about the longer term for charts specifically. Like right now, theoretically, we can just go in and configure it, even though it's going to take a bit more time, right, to configure everything.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I was just making sure.
It's a perfectly fair question. And like I said, there's some documentation of that caveat. It'll be there. Okay. The next thing is in regards to the addition of cloud native to the reference architecture, we're wrapping down on the observations and testing that we were doing and preparing to actually document those scaling guidelines within the charts themselves. Of particular interest in our findings was the wild difference between API and web traffic. See the graphs from the issue, where one is highly predictable and very easily understood, and the other one varies strongly based on the content of the response itself. If you look at those graphs, you'll see in the center there's a memory usage, and what you'll see is at 200 RPS, the API behaves very well, and then we switch to the 20 RPS web requests as a part of the GPT, and all of a sudden memory is fluctuating all over the place. This is primarily due to get data, rendering, large chunks, things like that. And they have a significant impact on the behavior there. We have an OpenMR to cover some of this documentation in the charts, as well as some updates to how that math works. We do intend to also add examples into our folder in regards to the exact configuration of these things so that it's easier for somebody to find directly and modify as they see fit. Any questions? Camille is unable to be here, but he did say that we can read the notes below. Would anybody like to read those, or should I just keep talking? Okay. Well, in regards to GitLab pages, we continue as since 2 weeks, running 75% of requests and 60% of domains are now using zip. We continue testing with data persistence, and we've noticed a few problems that we're continuing to work on and fixing now. Grzegorz, you have the next point.
So yeah, we have successfully mounted NFS mount points related to storing build logs, and therefore we decoupled CI/CD from NFS. And yeah, that's what I wanted to share. Jason, you are next in what's next.
In regards to following up on the blockers that we have coming at 13.7, I wanted to note that we have scheduled 2 out of 3 the major action items regarding unified structured logging across the cloud native. They're set up for 13.7, and it basically comes down to identifying and implementing the logger so that we actually get structured JSON out of everything that's consumable through our fleet. The next thing is that in progress, we have the web service as a generator pattern to allow traffic splitting. Most of this is in play now. We're working through a couple of small things and making sure that we have all the bases per se covered in how this needs to function. As it stands, it is proving out, and balancing the fleets of pods are working out fairly well. Some further testing and load testing will be interesting to see. Okay. Camille says that they are continuing to work on the .com epic, and it appears we are on track to start looking at migration this or next week. Josh?
Yeah, a couple quick updates here. One is I just wanted to circle back on the discussion from last week on the customer one item. And so we are meeting with the account team later today, and we'll get a kind of initial call going. And they reached out, so we'll see what they say, and we'll update more on the team on how that goes.
Cool. Thanks, Josh. Blockers, we don't seem to have any at the moment, so work is ongoing. So I'll move to discussion. Stephen or Jason, about the meeting recording.
Yeah, I see Gerard already,
Yeah.
had already responded. We were just looking for those recordings to help kind of spread the word on
Yeah, I
what's going
think
on
he
in
had
this call.
some issues where his previous invite expired, so he's now trying to figure it out again.
Understood.
Cool. Josh?
Yep, sorry, I have a co-pilot here. So want to circle back just real briefly on the update on NSFest. There was discussion last week, and just want to get a real crisp answer on where we are at. So just confirming for sure that NFS for Git repos are in fact documented as clearly being deprecated. The current plan from the Git team is to make them, is to remove support entirely in 14.0, so May of next year. And we also don't recommend people to use NFS with the exception of pages. So if you look at the various reference architectures and other documentation, you will see pages as not recommended, or NFS isn't recommended, with the exception of unless you want to use pages. So I think we're pretty good shape there. And once obviously pages no longer requires NFS, we can further change that language. And I tentatively scheduled the investigation into Mineo and at 13.8, we can see where that goes, but we have some pretty big items here. Need to finish up and stabilize Petroni. And then we also are working on the operator as well. So probably a little bit difficult to get that too soon, but we can start looking at that and doing initial investigation here shortly thereafter.
Cool, thanks, Josh. Are there any discussion points that we want to have that were not added yet? All right, well, it was nice seeing you all today. Good luck with the rest of your Monday, and we'll chat next week.